if you had to start all over again from the beginning and build your wealth up, which industry would you say is the most lucrative? Would you get into finance, banking, crypto, content creation, real estate? Where would you start?
Such a great question. My answer is a different question. My answer is I don't care about the industry. I want to work with a killer. Is who I want to work with. I want to work with somebody that is absolutely nonstop, obsessed, very good at what, I don't care if that guy's in real estate, if it's in insurance, if it's in crypto, if it's in pharmaceutical sales, I don't care if it's in technology, coding, don't care. If you're the best and you're the only one I have access to getting close to working with, I want to learn your habits. I want to learn your day-to-day. I want to learn your obsession. I want to learn how you negotiate behind closed doors. There is this camera that people are watching right now with our interview, right? But they haven't seen how I negotiate when I'm doing negotiations on a call or a Zoom with other people. So they don't know how that works. Versus when you're in the room and you're seeing how uncomfortable it gets at one point, and you're three of my guys sitting there, and then you 6 years later, you're negotiating that way. The value of that is not, let me do a course and teach you how to negotiate. If I'm able to work with somebody in any industry, I am very much open to any industry. If I'm 21 years old coming out, I'm going to work with anybody as long as that person's a killer.
I want to talk about the negotiation and how uncomfortable that can be, because I know how uncomfortable that can be. And I actually don't like to do it. I have men that do that because it's just better for me. But talk to me about why that's uncomfortable. How do you deal with that level of confrontation? And how do you also walk away from a deal because you're just not happy with what's on the table?
It's so much fun. I mean, it's
I find it so uncomfortable.
Kidding me? Like, to me, a good debate, the other day we had a guy on the podcast, Antonio Brown, who the most uncomfortable podcast we've ever done, who just called words, everything. You an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. You acting like a girl like this. And at one point of the podcast, sitting there saying, okay, what are we going to do here right now? I really don't need to be here. This guy is very difficult. But let's see if we can break through this year. So that additional, let me take a different angle on the way I'm going to communicate with him and see where we can go. And then the conversation went to, I heard you like to swim. Yeah, I like to swim. I said, how early do you swim? In the morning. I said, no, how old were you when you first started swimming? I was a kid. Why do you like swimming? I said, because when you're underwater, you don't hear anything. Interesting. I love that. Okay, so that's like a concept of bike, motorcycle. When you're out there, motorcycle, you don't hear anything. It's like you're in a certain mode, right? I said, so tell me about this. And then we went into Brady, and then he made a comment about Brady and what he does. I said, Brady had your back, why'd you do this? And then that video went viral all over the media. They're writing about it. But that is a form of a negotiation in an interview where it gets uncomfortable. And if you take the right turn, it's about to be a very interesting interview versus, oh my God, I made him upset. It's uncomfortable. Let me back down. So in negotiation, you're going to hit that wall as well, where at one point, one party or both parties are going to be uncomfortable, and whoever cannot handle it in that moment. And by the way, here's the other part. I used to be the one where negotiating was about 100% me winning and the other person losing. And then I noticed as a 20-year-old, people weren't coming back to want to keep doing business with me. So that's not the right way either. You have to do it in a way where you're making money, they're making money. Someone's always going to get a little bit of a better deal, right? You know, and it's always like MCI, I think it was MCI and AT&T or somebody like that. When somebody bought AT&T, and the company that bought AT&T, they were bigger. So AT&T's like, well, we're not okay with you buying us. Why not? He says, because of our name. He says, of course, if we buy you, we're going to use your name, not ours. So to AT&T, that's a win. Because they wanted to keep the name AT&T. To the other companies, like, we don't care what the name is. We're bigger, we want to buy you. We'll let the company. So imagine, like, actually, let's process this as a bigger company. Imagine, let's pick a name. Ford Motor Company buys, give me a small car company, whatever small car company. And Ford is willing to change the company's name to the other car company, even though that's kind of what happened. So in negotiation, AT&T still felt like they won because of legacy of the name. So, but it's a game. It's a beautiful game. And if you do it right, more people want to negotiate with you. I was 31 years old, sitting there negotiating with a guy named Harry.
Okay.
Not going to tell you the full name, but he's probably going to, if he hears about this. So we were sitting there. He says, Pat, I'm afraid to do business with you.
No.
I said, tell me why. He's a Wharton Business School guy. Love this guy. Spent time with him and his wife. And he wanted to invest. And I said, listen, this is the percentage that I'm willing to do at this investment. He says, it's midnight. We're at my office. We've been talking for 5 hours. He says, I'm afraid to negotiate with you. He says, what? He says, because I'm afraid you're going to get the better deal and not me. I said, let's just say that's the truth. But let me kind of give you something else for you to be thinking about. I said, let's say that does happen. Wouldn't you want your running mate to be a ridiculous negotiator if you and I are partners together? He says, I would. I said, if you come in with this investment, I'm officially going to negotiate the deals for the rest of your life. Why don't we do this together? You know what he does? He doesn't do the deal.
Oh, he doesn't?
Doesn't do the deal.
Why not?
You know how much it cost him? You know what his investment would have made him? 40 times his investment would have made him.
Wow.
40 times. He knows it.
Why wasn't he convinced?
Because he still thought I was getting the better deal.
Right.
He had a hard time with it. And by the way, you know how much it cost me for not doing that deal? He helped me make...
You made more money.
I don't know, 25 million, 40 million bucks.
Oh my God.
Just by him saying no. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man, for not wanting to take that offer.
That's amazing.
What a sweetheart of a guy, no?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like him a
Major
lot.
shout out to Harry. Great guy.
Shout out to Harry.
Very thankful for Harry.
He's actually a really good guy, good family guy, but cost himself 40 million
But
bucks.
not good in business.
No. Well, he's
not
good
as
in
good
business,
as you.
but he's afraid.
He's afraid. Okay, got to take some risks.
You do. Sometimes it's... And by the way, I don't blame him because at that time, I was not yet proven. I was only proven to be a great sales leader and a great salesperson. I'd never run a company. I'd never exited a company. So his risk was valid that he had that concern, but I also knew I was going places.
And that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.